When I started this channel, I had one single mission at the core of it, and that was to reach out to black voters between 18 to 80 that, for whatever reason, were not politically engaged or paying attention to politics as it was happening in real time. Because in, I don't know, maybe the last 5-6 years, I kept having conversations with other black people about politics, and it finally dawned on me that from what people were saying, that they really didn't have a good foundation or basic information about what was going on with politics at that particular time that we had that conversation. And in trying to do that, in trying to have this conversation in honesty and in good faith, probably the hardest thing for me to get around when I'm talking to black people about voting and how important it is Trump doesn't get back into office is the conversation around the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party, with all of its issues, and it has many issues. It's like if you invited a bunch of friends over to your house, and one of those friends was like the Democratic Party, but nobody liked him because he was like, you know, a whiny fat slob that constantly like double dipped into chip dip and shit. That's kind of like the Republican Party when you're talking to black people. Well, not all of them, but the ones that are kind of like on the fence. And if you try to convince a black person that has never voted before that they should vote for creepy, sleepy Joe, the very idea of the Democratic Party seems to just sit there like this pulsating, shiny, loud thing that people can't seem to take their eyes off of. It diverts way too much attention from the real conversation. Now, I've come across comments, not on my channel, I only got like 5 subs. I appreciate every last one of you, but I've seen the comments on the interwebs, you know, the plantation and, you know, buttermilk biscuits and the whole idea about Democrats really taking the black vote for granted. And I get it. And you're right. And it's really no secret that before the Republican Party, the Democratic Party were the original white nationalist party. KKK founders and all that. When we fast forward to today, the majority of the Republican Party is just as beholden to big pharma, big tech, big gas, big tech, big pharma, big gas, big retail, big street pharma. And I ain't talking about your city's most infamous drug lord either, fam. I'm talking like military, industrial complex levels of pharmaceutical sales and distribution. And big arms dealers who are selling alien technology to drug cartels. Did I just say that shit out loud? And as the Republican Party is, in fact, the Democrats have been involved in a lot of that as well. But the Republicans wrote the blueprint for bringing corporate money into their campaign, starting with old Ronald Reagan.
Alien threat.
And after a while, old Bill Clinton came in and brought Democrats into that same system. And one of many reasons for the confusion of what's going on politically was the decision under Ronald Reagan to cut funding for the teaching of civics in school and basically cutting funding for education as a whole. And today, as we look at a piece from the Brookings Institute published earlier this year, comparing a Democratic president's attempt to raise the educational budget by some 12, 11, or even 14%, I'm paraphrasing, I'll put it on the screen for you. At the same time, you see a Republican president that proposed 11, 12, and 14% cuts to the educational budget. Now, no matter how I say it, I really could care less about old rickety, creepy, sleepy Joe, or Democrats really as a whole. This election is about a white nationalist element that has been in our government since before any of us were born. This white nationalist element began to realize around the turn of the century, nobody really liked their ideas anymore. They were beginning to be seen as the ass backwards, anti-intellectual, proud to be willingly ignorant, and racist goons that they were. And if they wanted to maintain power as a ruling white elite, they needed to pack the courts with judges that would do their bidding. And it was also around this time, the late 70s, where white supremacists started saying, listen, we scurrying the hoes. Let's take off the hoods, take off the combat boots, grow your hair back out, okay? Grow your hair back out, put on the suit, run for office. If you cannot run for office, join the military. If you can't join the military, then join your local law enforcement. That is what we're dealing with here, not rickety old Joe. This element is rife in the GOP, just like it was in the Democratic Party during the time of the Civil War. We're not dealing with stupid as fuck, dumbass Donald Trump. We're dealing with a white nationalist element that has been trying to use Trump as a spearhead to take back full control of the government. And like in the red summer of 1919, the niggas will catch hell. If you're a black person of voting age in this country, even if you call me, I don't know, carrying water for Democrats or, buttermilk biscuits, whatever all this other bullshit is, the one thing that I think we can both agree on is that when shit hits the fan in this country, we get it the worst. Whatever that thing may be, we bear the brunt of it every time. Now, as of me recording this, it has just come down that the Supreme Court has ruled that a president cannot be held accountable for crimes committed while in office. If it's like official presidency type action, it's clearly vague, but the purpose is to cover Trump's ass. Now, in what world do we live in where a Supreme Court would rule in this way? Well, in part 2, we will look in more detail at how this white nationalist movement organized to put racist, corporate beholden judges not only on the Supreme Court, but also in many small courts in your city, and in your city, and in your city, and your city, and my city, and how it is only one party that has really been behind it.
Worshipping Trump, worshipping as a convicted felon. Well, yeah, so is George Floyd. And everybody, and you all too, the media worship George Floyd. Democrats worship George Floyd. There were riots burning down the fucking country over George Floyd. And Raskin is in there saying we worship him. Excuse me, let me...
She don't want to go talk to the police, does she? She doesn't even support the police. But the idea to pay her thug money to try to help protect her, this and that, for what? Maybe if she wouldn't be so loud all the time, maybe she wouldn't be getting threats.
Are you saying she deserved?
You would establish large-scale staging grounds for removal flights. So you grab illegal immigrants and then you move them to the staging grounds, and that's where the planes are waiting for federal law enforcement to then move those illegals home. You deputize the National Guard to carry out immigration enforcement. And then... In fact,
our leverage in the elections, quite candidly, goes up as the voting populace goes down.
All right, that does it for now. Catch y'all later. Remember, check the description for more reading and research. I purposely put that there for your well-being, your growth, and ultimately, for all of us, our self-preservation. Love y'all, man. It's JD at Giant TV, out.
Uh-oh.
I just love you.
No, that's why he's a great politician.
Yeah, you niggas will be all right.
Look at my African American over here. Look at him. Are you the greatest?